In my opinion, really, there's no better and safer way to start than by formulating your main issues and naming your pain points. Hello, and welcome to a new episode of Smarter Software Outsourcing. If you're listening to this podcast for the first time, here's a bit of context. My name is Frederick Joy. I'm an entrepreneur and the co-founder of Arcanis, a software development company in the Philippines. I left Switzerland for the Philippines over 10 years ago, and since then, I've been dedicating most of my time to helping business owners, CEOs, and CTOs build the right outsourcing setup for their needs. And earlier this year, I decided to create a series of podcasts entitled Smarter Software Outsourcing to share my knowledge, analysis, insights, and tips about the industry and invite guests that know much more than I do to talk with you. Whether you're a Fortune 500 or a startup in stealth mode, I hope you can find resourceful materials here and see a little bit clearer in your outsourcing choices. Today, in Smarter Software Outsourcing, we'll talk about one of the most basic, but most important factors to consider when growing your business through outsourcing. In fact, it's really the number one step to take no matter what. I'm talking about the very understanding of your own needs, struggles, and expectations that drive you in the direction of outsourcing parts of your software development. So, you've made up your mind. You'll grow your development capabilities with dedicated developers from an offshore company. Good. But why exactly are you going this route? What challenges do you expect the external provider to help with? Where should they be located? And how do you envision the collaboration? In other words, how well do you know your outsourcing needs? Without clear answers to these questions, you might well head off in the wrong direction and you're likely to become confused in your discussions with the provider sooner or later. So let's get right into it. There are two basic things that you don't want to miss doing before you start searching and talking to potential providers. One, make sure you understand all of your current struggles as a business. The very first step must be a rich and honest conversation with yourself. Take a bit of time for introspection and ask yourselves these questions. What are you struggling with the most? What made you look into outsourcing in the first place? What challenges do you expect the external provider to help with? Maybe you'd want to take a paper and list them down to better articulate your thoughts. Ask yourself which specific areas of your business you expect to improve. Do you need to speed up hiring and have more software developers join your team? Or are you trying to access a specific set of skills that maybe aren't available in your city or country? Are you looking to fix your high staff turnover by hiring outsourced developers from a stable company with better employee retention? Or do you need to cut your development costs? Or maybe get some technical advice? Answering these questions should give a pretty good idea of your pain points, and it will help you better express your needs when you talk to providers later on. In return, they should be more likely to give you relevant, constructive information right away. I see a lot of people reaching out to me to hire a dedicated development team, but the moment I start scratching the surface, I realize they're not quite solid on these questions. In my opinion, really, there's no better and safer way to start than by formulating your main issues and naming your pain points. Now, the second thing you want to try doing ahead of your search is to start picturing your ideal provider. And you can do so by taking a stand on a number of criteria. See, I know that many of you searching for the right provider can feel pretty overwhelming and you don't always know where to start, especially given the vast number of options. So to help you with that, I've compiled a list of 4 considerations for you to evaluate and reflect on. The first thing you want to decide on is what collaboration and engagement model do you want? No two business partnerships are the same, so remember that outsourcing is a strategic choice, not a simple handoff or duty to a third party. Take the time to describe how you envision the collaboration. Are you looking for a simple staff augmentation company that only provides the strict resources you need, or one that really understands the software development industry and can act as a business partner with more substantial involvement in your project? Are you looking for help on a short-term project, or do you plan to build a solid partnership with a provider who supplies a dedicated development team for the long run? Second, you want to find out what technologies you need them to cover. Make sure you pick professionals who are knowledgeable about the programming languages and technologies you're working with. If they are well versed in these, chances are they also have senior engineers who have mastered your preferred technology. Working with an outsourcing company that is on the same wavelength with you in terms of languages and technologies raises the bar on many levels. Plus, it also ensures that they're able to fill in the gap in your team in case someone leaves. Third, Where do you want your partner to be located? If you look only at the price tag, well, obviously you'll want to outsource from the country that offers the cheapest rates. But believe me, that would be a big mistake. Choosing the country from where you decide to outsource is not just about saving a buck, it will also help determine other important factors like the time zone. If your teams have to work together during the day, overlapping time zones makes the collaboration a lot easier. Typically, part of the reasons why Australian companies like to outsource to the Philippines is because of the similar time zone and the cultural accessibility. You need to genuinely understand each other, and I'm not just talking about speaking the same language here. I'm talking about clear communication, common values, and transparency. Lastly, what company structure are you targeting and what you expect from the people behind it? In most cases, you want to partner with a company that is big enough and with a wide talent pool such that it can accommodate your needs fast, but small enough to still genuinely care about you. An organization of this size can also guarantee easy access to their top management if ever things don't go the way you want. In my opinion, this may be one of the most important things to consider, especially when you want to entrust them with a vital part of your business. That's why you need to be able to get to know the people behind the company, their background, their experience, and get a feel of whether they can be there for you in critical times, and not just when the contract is about to be signed. There's nothing more painful than being stuck in the maze of hierarchy. So as a conclusion, you've laid out a clear blueprint for approaching outsourcing in a way that works for you. If what I've mentioned here sounds self-evident to you, great. You're probably all set to start the actual research and evaluation work already. But I know from experience that these preliminary steps aren't obvious for everyone, and this is exactly where the problem lies. Failure to lay down the proper foundations can cost far more down the road. And the payoff for doing good preliminary work to clarify your needs and intentions guarantees that you're on the right track for a healthy collaboration with greater chances of success. It can take some time, but this is a lot less work than dealing with the misunderstandings later on. So that's it for today's episode. I hope this discussion has already helped you better understand your outsourcing needs and expectations. But if it's not the case, or if there are still gray areas you'd like to sort out before talking to a potential software development provider, feel free to shoot me an email at fred@arcanis.com. I'd be happy to help. Cheers.